Deborah here, advice columnist on AskHeartbeat.com and SurvivingDating.com with a very interesting advice question that came in. A young lady wrote on the blog and asked me for my opinion regarding the trend of black men marrying on the condition of an open marriage. And I thought, that's kind of an interesting thing. Why would someone want to do that? Then I remembered reading earlier this year that Monique and her husband had that kind of open door policy. Her exact words were actually, though, that if her husband were to have relations with someone else, it wouldn't be a deal breaker for their marriage. That was actually what she said. Now, Will and Jada came out, made public about 2 years ago, that they have an open door policy on sex with people that they're attracted to as well outside their marriage. And although Will did admit that he wouldn't know how he would handle it if Jada came to him saying that she wanted to have some fun with somebody else, but the door was definitely open for him. And perhaps that is a smart thing in the situation. When you look at how many celebrity husbands and sports figures are being caught, having mistresses and affairs. These guys are on the road, they're gone, they're not really around, and they're surrounded by a bevy of beautiful, sexy women all the time. Perhaps in a situation like that, a woman is actually smarter for adopting an open door policy. I can't really say. That would have to be an individual decision. But look at, why would someone want to have an open marriage? What would be the benefits? Because to me, if you really want to have a situation like that, shouldn't one just stay single? To me, having an open marriage is somewhat of an oxymoron because of the fact that marriage means unity. It means ties, it means commitment, it means a bonding together, and in our society, the idea is for life. Of course, with the high divorce rate, that doesn't happen, but that's still the dream that most people have when they say, I do. So then you say, okay, well, if you're going to involve yourself in a, quote, open marriage, what might some of the rules be? I would imagine that it would make sense to say, well, you can't have an ongoing relationship with this person, because then the risk really increases for them to develop an emotional tie to this individual, which would supersede the marital union, the marital tie. This person is not just having sex, which, a lot of guys say, well, with men it's just sex, but also having fun, good conversation, doing things, bonding emotionally to someone else. I think most women would find that very, very threatening, which could be one of the main reasons that people object so much to the concept of open marriage. Then you look at, what might that do to your primary relationship, your marriage? I would imagine that there would be a lack of depth and intimacy as you start to split your ties, your mental and emotional and physical ties to several different people. It's no longer really focused on one. You're dividing up your energy, your time, your sexual frustrations with numerous parties. How's that really going to work long term? Now, I think that a person approaching you saying that, well, I'll marry you, but we have to have this open door policy, is not really interested in marriage. Now, if you guys are both on the same page, then why even bother calling it marriage? Just live together and do your thing. But once you decide to make your union legal, and some people tie it to spiritual things as well, what is the point if you're not going to adhere to that level of commitment to each other? Why get married? I don't understand it. So I would suggest to women that they consider what's going on here. Did this guy, was he like a nerdy, geeky guy or something that didn't get all this screwing around out of his system before you two got together? Is that what's up? He's thinking he's lost, he's missing something and he wants to get it now? Or is this a situation where someone is not needy, just greedy? You got to look at that as well. if that is the mentality, then are you marrying someone who will never, ever, ever give you their all? That's something serious to consider, because people look at what happens sexually. I'm looking a little deeper. What does that mean as far as the ties that you two are going to have and the involvement that you're going to have with each other? And I also think that there's a difference in the approach there, because you think of a young man not having much action as he's growing up. He's ashamed of it. For girls, it's a source of pride. For a guy to get a lot of play and bed a lot of people, that's a source of pride. And for girls, it's a source of shame, because women are called names like tramp and hoe and skank, skeezer and slut and all this kind of thing if they're feel free to explore explore themselves sexually and experience sexual variety, whereas men are given basically a round of applause for those same behaviors. But we're not talking about singles. I'm just kind of covering a little background there. We're talking about once you decide to get married. What is the point, in my mind, of getting married to a man who's telling you right up front, well, we're just going to be married in name only. I'm not going to really be that committed to you. And with fidelity, that's out the window. So, ladies, I would say this to the writer of this question. If a fidelity and commitment are important to you within the confines of a marriage, should that man propose that type of situation to you, I would suggest that you tell him thank you, but no thank you. That's not the kind of marriage that I'm looking for. This is Deborah Cooper, advice columnist, signing off.